When the man who is supposed to be selling you something admits the product is not finished yet, something has gone wrong behind the scenes. Pupurai Togarepi, ZANU-PF's Youth League boss, one of the ruling party's most reliable public voices, just stood up and said something about CAB 3 that has thrown the entire narrative into confusion. He said, "It is not a done deal." And in a party that does not do uncertainty publicly, that admission is enormous. Before we continue, if you are new here, kindly PLS, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell icon. Thanks. Now let's continue. For weeks, Zimbabwe has been watching CAB3 move through the political system with the confidence of something already decided. Ziambi confirmed the vote is coming. No secret ballot. MPs will vote publicly. The party structures are mobilized. The disciplinary machinery has already demonstrated what happens to those who do not align. Everything pointed toward a party that had made up its mind and was simply waiting for Parliament to confirm what had already been decided in the corridors. And then Togarepi spoke. Pupurai Togarepi is not a peripheral figure in ZANU-PF. He is the Secretary for Youth Affairs in the ZANU-PF Politburo. He leads the party's youth structures, the same structures that have been mobilized at provincial meetings, at rallies, at coordinating committee gatherings across Zimbabwe to build momentum behind the party's agenda. When a man in his position says something publicly about CAB 3, it is not a casual observation. It carries the weight of his rank, his access to internal party conversations, and his understanding of where things actually stand inside ZANU-PF's complex machinery. And what he said has stopped Zimbabwe's political conversation in its tracks. CAB3 is not a done deal at this point. 6 words from inside the ruling party about the bill the ruling party has been pushing with everything it has. Not a done deal. But he did not stop there. He went further. He said the draft law can still be reshaped and improved. Reshaped, improved. Those are not the words of a party official reading from a script of predetermined outcomes. Those are the words of someone acknowledging that what currently exists on paper is not yet what it needs to be. That there is work still to do. That the bill in its current form has gaps, problems, or provisions that even people inside ZANU-PF are not fully comfortable with. Now let us be precise about why this matters so much. The entire narrative around CAB3 up to this point has been built on a foundation of inevitability. The government has consistently presented this bill as a logical, necessary, constitutionally sound piece of legislation moving smoothly toward passage. Analysts have been trotted out to call it developmental. The public consultation numbers 300,000 submissions have been cited as proof of popular support, and Ziambi has been the confident, immovable public face of a party that knows exactly what it wants and exactly how to get it. Togarepi just poked a hole in that narrative, because you do not say a bill can be reshaped and improved if you are confident it is perfect. You do not acknowledge room for change if your internal position is that the bill as written is exactly what Zimbabwe needs. You do not publicly open the door to revision if the party has a unified, settled, unshakable consensus behind every clause. Togarepi's statement tells a different story. It tells the story of a party that is feeling pressure from the courts, from Matete's High Court application, from the Maduku Constitutional Court challenge, from Chiwenga's faction working against the bill from inside, from Chabangu's CCC demanding significant changes before his legislators vote yes, from the Catholic bishops, from the Law Society, from ordinary Zimbabweans whose anger about this bill is not quieted despite every attempt to manage and suppress it. All of that pressure has apparently reached even the youth structures of ZANU-PF. And Togarepi, to his credit, or perhaps to the party's strategic calculation, has chosen to acknowledge it rather than pretend it does not exist. Here is where this story becomes genuinely significant. Think about the sequence of events over the past weeks. Shabangu said his CCC faction will not back CAB3 in its current form and that significant changes are needed. Chiwenga called certain people toxic and made clear his faction is against the bill as it stands. Matete filed a high court challenge calling for a referendum. Maduku challenged the constitutional validity of the entire process in the Constitutional Court. Mbalekwa was expelled from the party for opposing the 2030 agenda. Ziambi confirmed no secret ballot. But Tuesday's vote has come and gone without the clean, decisive, overwhelming passage that was supposed to signal ZANU-PF's total control of this process. And now Togarepi, from inside ZANU-PF's own Politburo, is saying the bill is not a done deal and can be reshaped. Pattern recognition is a powerful thing. What this sequence of events describes is not a bill moving confidently toward passage. It is a bill running into resistance from every direction simultaneously. Legal resistance, internal party resistance, opposition resistance, civil society resistance, religious institution resistance, and now the softest, most carefully worded form of internal acknowledgement that something needs to change. Togarepi is not opposing CAB3. He is not calling it unconstitutional. He is not aligning with Chamisa or Matete or Chiwenga's faction publicly. But he is saying out loud what ZANU-PF's body language has been communicating for weeks. This is harder than they expected. Zimbabwe's political analysts are reading Togarepi's statement with intense interest because in ZANU-PF's communication culture, what is said publicly is almost always a managed, calibrated version of what is happening privately. If Togarepi is saying CAB3 can be reshaped, the internal conversations are almost certainly far more turbulent than that phrase suggests. The questions circulating now are pointed and urgent. What exactly does reshaping CAB3 mean in practice? Which provisions are on the table for revision? Will ZANU-PF genuinely engage with Chabangu's demands for significant changes? Or is the reshaping language simply a tactical pause, a moment to reduce public pressure and legal momentum while the party quietly holds its position and pushes through when the noise dies down? Because that is the other possible reading of Togarepi's statement. Not genuine openness to change, but strategic communication, saying the right things publicly to create the appearance of flexibility while the machinery of passage continues operating behind closed doors. Zimbabwe has seen this before. Consultation processes that collect 300,000 submissions without meaningfully changing a single clause. Engagement processes that produce press releases rather than genuine policy shifts. The Matete and Maduku legal challenges are still in court. Those cases are not resolved. And every day, the legal uncertainty continues. Every court date that approaches is a day CAB3 has not passed. Time, as legal analysts noted weeks ago, Time is the enemy of the 2030 agenda, and Togarepi's statement may have just bought Zimbabwe's constitutional defenders a little more of it.